Ad structure. So I'm going to be showing you how all big ad accounts are doing their setup right now. And by the time I show you, it's just going to make all the sense in the world. So congratulations on getting to the final video in this course. If you've gone through the course, you already have, you understood, you already understand your market sophistication. You already know the exact awareness levels you want to target. You have your big ideas, the emotions you're going to sell with. You've actually even crafted your copy. You've done some tests on Facebook by now. You already know the kind of messaging that will work. And you've used that to come up with your ad copy, your ad headline. And also, you've used that to improve your sales funnels, your product pages, and landing pages. Okay, so now you want to get the structure that will work for ads in today's meta ad um, dispensation. Okay, so let's talk about why structure is important. So the ad structure and the setup can affect to a great extent the performance of your ad. So I showed you examples of good ads that had the four offer attributes and also had, like a sense of a big idea behind it. I showed you for both e-commerce and, you know, non-e-com ads. Now, that's just one part of the game. The second part of the game involves structure and several other things because if you have the right setups in place, your ad performance will increase and stabilize over time. So what affects most advertisers is that they start the ads today, it gets good results, tomorrow it drops, next tomorrow it goes up, it forms this kind of zigzag pattern. I understand that yes, ad performance is never really 100% stable, but over time, your ads should see a sense or a level of stability if you've done the setup correctly. And in the past, you didn't need to worry too much about this. But what I'm going to show you now, you really need to pay attention to it because of the changes with Meta ads. So I'll begin by showing you the key areas we're going to cover. So I'm going to start by talking about Advantage Plus, and then I'll talk about audience controls, audience suggestions. Then I'll talk about original options and, you know, audience expansion. Then I'll drive deeper into the concept of pixel purity, and then I'll reveal the recommended setup that you should be using today. Okay, so first of all, let us talk about Advantage Plus, okay? So Advantage Plus is a massive improvement over the original targeting methods. What that means is that Facebook's AI has taken responsibility for showing your ads to those people who they believe are the people you want, okay, to take a certain action, whether that's to purchase a product, to watch a video, to click a link, or whatever it is you're trying to optimize for. Now, this Meta AI uses a content based system called the Graph API. I'm sure you're already sick and tired of hearing that from me, but you need to really understand what I'm saying, right? So the Graph API will distribute your ads based on the content and who is engaging with the ads, you know. And if that's how they're distributing the ads, then it's very important that all the inputs into that ad, the copy that the ad presents, and also who is clicking and taking actions around the ad, are the people, are the right people. Okay. So let's look at the basics. So when you want to create your ads and you click create, let's assume you click on sales and you click continue and you select manual sales campaign, right? You would see something like this. I mean, the ad set level, website. I'm just trying to this test account. I'm just trying to make sure everything's showing correctly. Okay. Now, this is what I mean when I say Advantage Plus audience, right? It says our tech automatically finds your audience. If you share an audience suggestion, we'll prioritize audiences matching this profile before searching more widely. So, um, this means that Meta is going to streamline targeting for you, right? They will try to automatically find who your buyers or whatever action it is you're trying to drive. Now, there's what we call the audience controls. Audience controls is just above, you know, above the advantage audience section. Now, for audience controls, you can actually set the criteria for where the ad campaigns will be delivered. For instance, you can set your location, and then you can set even more. You can say you will want the minimum age to be, let's say, 35. Let's assume you're selling a business product, and 25 is a more ideal audience for you, right? But I will say this, right? You can also set the languages, and then you can exclude some of your custom audiences, right? Now, I will say this: the audience controls act as a tight constraint on your ad. So, for instance, if you set the minimum age to be 25, Meta is not going to show um, the age this ad to people who are beneath 25, according to what their Facebook profile says, right? Because some people could be you could be 10-year old and you said your age is 25. Okay, so but you understand what I mean. Now, that is for audience controls. Then there's also audience suggestion, which is this, by clicking this button here. Now, um, you may want to provide a suggestion. You could also leave it. The difference you observe will not be so significant because when you create your ads, what Meta AI does is that it uses past conversion data, your pixel data, and interactions with your previous ads as the source to derive your core audience from, right? And that's why we'll talk about pixel purity in detail. So you could always provide your custom audiences, for example, the age range that you're trying to target and the gender that you're trying to target, right? If it's a man or if it's a woman. You could also suggest, right, some interest that you want Meta to target. Now, this is what happens. It makes sense to do this you don't have um, when you don't have so many or when you don't have history. That's what I mean to say. When you don't have enough history with Meta, for instance, you've not gotten a lot of purchases using this ad account or this pixel, right? The pixel in the consent pixel, the one that is at play right now in your ad account. So if you don't have a lot of history or a lot of data that Meta can ride on to start showing your ads, then you could use this to provide some suggestions. Now, but what you must know is that this is exactly what they said it is. It is just a suggestion. And so for sure, your ads are going to be delivered outside the parameters that you have set on the suggestions. Okay. So now talking about switching to original audience options. If you're on a sales campaign like this one and you click switch, of course, you're going to see the warnings, right? And they have a good reason to warn you because your ads should be targeting for you. Okay. So let's assume we click on it and you click use original options. You're going to see the exact options that you have been familiar with all the while, right? You set your location, the age range, the gender, and then your detailed targeting. Now, if you look at this, it says advantage detailed targeting, right? Which tells you that advantage plus is turned on and you don't have the option to turn it off. Okay. The option to turn off advantage plus. So you're basically still running on a similar idea like the regular advantage plus audience, okay? Because this one is advantage detail targeting, which is just like audience expansion. So we don't have the opportunity to turn off audience expansion. And so your ads are still going to get shown to people beyond this beyond the selection, right? There are instances where it makes sense to use this old option, but I'm not going to be talking much about that in this video. I'm just going to focus more on what it looks like and how you should set up your ads, right? So if you've crafted your ads the right way, you shouldn't be bothered, frightened by any of these things. Okay, they are both similar, but um, you want to trust and rely more on Advantage Audience. Okay, let Meta do its thing, right? So let's go back and see what we've done. So I've talked about Advantage Plus, what it is. I've talked about audience controls, how you can try to put a little constraint on the ads, on the ad delivery mechanism, right? But to be fair, if you're trying to get people to buy something, just let it do its thing. You could try to give some suggestions, which is the third thing we're supposed to talk about. Just give the suggestions if it's necessary. If you have history, you don't even need to do that, and just let the ads deliver. If you've done all the things I've shown you, you are going to get better results. Now, I already talked about switching back to the original options and expansion, right? When you switch back, if you are trying to run a purchase campaign that's something involving sales, you will not have the option to turn off audience expansion. So it doesn't make any sense to be using that. And if you're trying to run maybe something like a reach campaign, video views, kind of those kind of, top of funnel kind of actions, you're going to have the option to turn off audience expansion. Now, to the concept of pixel purity. Okay. Now, there are a couple of things that you want to make sure you avoid with your pixel. The first one is undercounting. If you're getting, let's say, 5 purchases and Meta says you've got two, and you're not running ads from any other source, those purchases didn't come from your email, you have the problem of undercounting. And funny as it may sound, it's a real problem. I've experienced it sometimes, right? Where I get a couple of purchases that Meta doesn't track or doesn't recognize. And for that reason, they don't get counted. That influences Meta's decision because they say, well, we sent Mr. A, Mr. B, Mr. C, Mr. D, and all the way to Z, for instance, and only Mr. A and Mr. B made the purchase, right? So Mr. C, Mr. D, Mr. E, Mr. F, and all the rest, even though some of them made purchases, are now taken out of the mix. So they say, okay, let's look for more of Mr. A and B, less of Mr. C, D, E, F. So it kind of creates confusion. You want your ads to be tracked to a very high accuracy level, right? And if your ads, Meta will always miss some of them, right? And it's normal, but you want most of them. You want it to actually be very close, okay? If things like your page views are off by a certain degree, it doesn't matter. But if you have like purchases, add to carts, initiate checkouts that are undercounted, then you have a pixel issue. There's also the other side of the problem when you have overcounting. It doesn't help at all. So, for instance, um, if your ads are being shown to people, someone makes a purchase, but Meta shows two purchases, it means it's counting double for each purchase. And that means that it will try to use that the weight of that decision to say, wow, these are the kind of people I should be looking for. And it kind of messes up the whole thing, right? Your ads should just be accurate, it should not undercount or overcount. You want consistency and you want accuracy with the reporting, right? And there are ways to do this, and we'll talk about that when I get to the fourth level. Now, the third thing you want to avoid is using different websites and different products. So don't have a health product and then you're selling marriage advice. Don't try to have your pixel tracking something similar. Okay, because the pixel is the most important piece of technology you have in your business as long as you're running ads, right? So don't put your pixels on multiple kinds of websites and or use it to track sales and conversions for different kinds of products. It kind of messes up with the whole thing. So you want to try to use it for similar stuff. Okay, now you if you're having on the counting over counting, then like I said, you have a tracking problem. And the tracking problem is that Meta could be tracking y- the ads using pixels, and then you have a problem with the server side tracking. And you will probably want to get someone who has tech experience to do the setup for you, right? Because with the iOS updates, Meta is unable to see some activity based on some devices, like some of our devices, right? You're using the iPhone 14, 15, 13, you're using these devices and you've told them that you don't want Facebook tracking you, so they wouldn't know when people like that make purchases on your website, right? So you want to also send feedback back to Facebook and say this person bought, and you can do that by using the server side tracking called CAPI. Okay, that's the conversion API. Now it may still not be doing the job um to the best level, and that's where you have tools. Of course they are not free, but they will help you improve your tracking, like Pixel. I can't remember if it's your or my, either Pixel your site or Pixel my site. It's a WordPress plugin that can help you track activity if you're on WordPress. Shopify has one that works quite well. I think they have a native one. Um, they also have other tools that you could, use if you're on Shopify that could help, right? I'm trying to remember the name, but uh, I think it's something like Omega, right? Omega Pixel also, right? You want to use those kind of, tools to leverage the quality of the tracking that you are getting, right? And when sometimes Meta misses a certain purchase or activity or event, some of these tools have the ability to feed Meta with the right information and say, well, you missed this one, here's this one. This is the actual ad that brought this sale and not this other ad. And they can actually feed the system back with more consistent information. One of the best tools that you could ever use for tracking, of course, I'm not paid to say this, is Hyros. Okay, it's expensive, and if you don't run your business to a certain level, you don't want to really bother much about Hyros. But Hyros is one of the tools that will help you get really really cool results with your ads, because it will follow up with your ads and let Meta know, okay, this was working and was not working, and things like that. Now, with that said, let's talk about the setup that you should be using. So this is the new structure for your campaigns. This is how you should structure your campaigns in this day and age. Okay, so you want to have one campaign and one ad set, and then your ads. First of all, it doesn't make any sense to be having multiple ad sets if your ads are the same, right? So just one ad set's enough, and you could have more than one ad. Of course, in that ad set, you could have three, six, or more ads. In that ad set. Okay. Now your ad set, I'm talking about your Advantage and Plus ad set. You want to have these different ads, and then you're going to monitor your performance on the ad level. So you want to kill off the ads that are not performing and let the ones that are bringing the best results to run. I mean, eventually. Of course, you're not going to do that anytime, soon. You're going to allow the ads to run for a certain number of days or a certain number of impressions before you can really make a decision based on the data. Right now, the reason for this new structure is that it's not just to keep things simple. The main work is being done by the ad set. I mean, that is where Meta identifies your bias from, or your whatever action it is you're promoting. And so if you have ads and the ad set is converting, it has a lot of conversions, Facebook has more data with which it can look and reach for more people just like that. So ideally, I always tell people to try to ensure they're having, 50 plus conversions per week for each ad set. That is even more important today, right? So you want to set your budget in such a way that you can get 7 of those conversion events in a day, so that at the end of the week you can have 50 of those events, right? Which means you're going to be spending a lot more money. So you want to consolidate all your ad sets into one, right? And then if you have less, for say for instance, you had 4, 5, 6 different angles, that's different ads that you put into this ad set and you've killed some of them, you could always come up with new angles, right? New ideas, and you can test those in a different ad set on a high budget as well, right? So what I'm trying to say in essence is that you want to focus on your ad sets, right? If you're using your ad sets as your um as one angle, that's fine. So you can have one kind of ad angle with different creatives. Okay, or you could have, so it doesn't really matter how you decide to do the setup, but make sure that your ad sets are the core of your strategy, right? One campaign with one ad set, you don't have to duplicate the same ad set with the same ads and trying to target, different smaller niches. It doesn't make any sense. Consolidate your ad budget and scale. That's what everyone with a big um, ad account is doing now. That's what 8 figure, businesses are doing in their ad accounts right now. So that's the end of this video, and I hope you've gotten a ton of value. Set up your ads. I want to hear from you. How are they performing? So you can write us, send us an email, and talk about your ad performance. Don't only come when you have run into trouble, come when it's working well, and share all the good news with us. All right, so that's the end of this video. Thank you very much for sticking with me till the end. If you're interested in learning, you know, another advanced strategy that we use to, laser target the ads, then there's a course called the Laser Targeting Hack that will blow your mind. And whatever results that you get with this kind of system, you would multiply the effect by the time you add, the laser targeting hack course to it. And then if you're the kind of person that has like a brand new ad account, you don't have any history, the laser targeting hack will actually get you up to speed really fast. It will help you to train the AI a lot faster than you can imagine even right now, right? So that's the end. Once again, I know I've said that many times, and I will see you, you know, we'll continue to talk via emails, via social, and everywhere else. Bye.